We need you, God. When the night is feeling heavy and the road is feeling long, and when our heart is hurting and the world is feeling wrong, we tried on our own way, but we come too far. Now we lifting our hands up and calling on who you are. You are our shelter. You are our light. We need you, God. You are the hope that brings us through the night. We need you more than ever before. We need your love, God. We need you to open the doors. We need your peace to calm every storm. We just need you, God, right here, right now, once more. When the fear is talking loud and true, we need you, God. When we forget what you can do, you never leave us. You never let go. You remind our heart that you are still in control. We need you. You are our healer. You are our strength. You carry us. With our faith, it's feeling fresh. We need you, God. More than words can say, we need your mercy to guide our way. We need your grace to stand back strong. We need you, God, to help us carry on. Not by power, not by might, but by your spirit we rise tonight. Every knee will bow, every heart will see there is life without you. We need you desperately. We need you in the morning. We need you at night. We need you in the darkness. We need you in the light. We need you, God. We need your trust, so our soul can believe. We need your love to cover us, God. We need you when we rise and when we fall. We need your peace. With open heart, we need you, God, just as we are. To calm every storm, we need you, God. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we just need you.
We Need You, God, a story of faith, reflection, and hope. By Mr. Happiness. The leaves had already begun to fall. Golden, red, and brown leaves covered the ground like a soft carpet, whispering stories of seasons past. The air was cool, the kind of air that makes you breathe a little deeper and think a little longer. Mr. Happiness stood quietly near the old wall covered in vines, sunlight breaking through the branches like heaven, reminding him it was still there. He wasn't smiling like usual, not because joy was gone, but because this moment required honesty. He looked around at the world he loved so much, a world full of beauty and pain, a world full of dreams and struggles. He placed his hands in his pockets and lifted his head slightly, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face. God, he whispered, we need you. Not just him, everyone. He thought about the people who smiled on the outside but cried at night. The families holding on by faith alone, the children searching for hope, the elders praying for strength, the nations divided, the hearts broken. The leaves crunching under his feet reminded him change is constant, but so is God. As the light grew brighter behind him, it felt like a quiet answer. Not loud, not dramatic, just steady, faithful. God had never left. Mr. Happiness remembered all the times he tried to fix things on his own, all the times he pushed forward with strength, style, confidence, and courage, yet still needed help beyond himself. And that was okay, because needing God wasn't weakness. It was wisdom. He took a slow breath and smiled, not for the camera, not for the world, but for his soul. "We need you in the morning," he said softly. "We need you at night. We need you when the sun shines, and when the storms come." The autumn wind moved the vines along the wall, almost like they were nodding in agreement. Mr. Happiness stepped forward, ready to keep walking, ready to keep spreading love. But now with a deeper knowing, he didn't walk alone, and neither did the world. As the sun faded and the leaves continued to fall, his heart felt lighter. Not because every problem was solved, but because faith had spoken. And faith said, "I am with you. We need you, God." Part 2. When the Light Speaks Back. By Mr. Happiness. The sun didn't disappear when the leaves stopped falling. It simply shifted. Mr. Happiness continued walking through the autumn path, his footsteps slow and steady. Each crunch beneath his shoes felt like a reminder. Every season leaves something behind, but it also makes room for what's next. As he stood still again, the light behind him grew stronger, warmer. It wasn't blinding, it was comforting. Like a quiet voice that didn't interrupt, but waited. He closed his eyes, and for the first time that day, he didn't ask for anything. He listened. In the stillness, memories rose gently. Not the painful ones first, but the moments where God carried him when he didn't even realize it. Doors that opened at the last second, strength that showed up when he had none, smiles that returned after long nights of prayer. That's when he understood something powerful. God wasn't just needed in the struggle. God was present in the journey. A breeze moved through the trees, lifting a few leaves into the air. They danced briefly before settling back down. Mr. Happiness smiled. "Even falling can be beautiful," he whispered. He thought about his mission, spreading love, joy, encouragement, hope. Being Mr. Happiness didn't mean pretending everything was perfect. It meant choosing faith even when things weren't. And now, his prayer had shifted. Instead of, "We need you, God," his heart added something new. "Thank you for already being here." The light behind him glowed like a promise, not loud, not flashy, but faithful, just like God had always been. He turned his head slightly, looking toward the path ahead. There was more walking to do, more people to love, more songs to sing, more stories to tell, and he knew something deep in his soul now. He wasn't walking to find God. God was walking with him. With a calm breath and a confident step forward, Mr. Happiness continued on, stronger, lighter, and ready. Because when you truly need God, you discover he never left. We Need You, God Part 3. Walking in Trust, by Mr. Happiness. The path ahead was clearer now, not because every answer had been revealed, but because fear no longer led the way. Mr. Happiness continued walking through the autumn glow, his steps more confident, his shoulders lighter. The leaves still fell. The world still moved. Life was still life. But something inside him had shifted. Trust had taken root. He realized trust wasn't about knowing where the road ends. It was about believing that every step mattered. As he walked, he thought about all the moments when he rushed ahead, trying to control outcomes, trying to make things happen on his own time. He smiled gently, understanding now that God's pace was never late. The light behind him no longer felt like something chasing him. It felt like something guiding him. "Lead me," he said quietly, "even when I don't understand." A bird lifted from a nearby branch, soaring freely into the open sky. Mr. Happiness watched it disappear, feeling the message settle in his heart. Trust doesn't ask for proof. Trust listens. Trust moves forward anyway. He thought about the people watching him, the ones who needed encouragement, the ones who leaned on his smile, his music, his words. Being Mr. Happiness wasn't about having all the answers. It was about walking faithfully, so others could see it was possible. He placed his hands by his side and took a deeper breath. The cool air filled his lungs, steady and sure. With every step, the ground felt firm beneath him. God was holding the path, and even when the road curved, even when the leaves covered what came next, he trusted the one who made the way. Mr. Happiness walked on, not rushed, not afraid, just trusting. And in that trust, peace followed him like the sunlight through the trees. We Need You, God. Part 4. Strength for the Journey, by Mr. Happiness. The journey didn't get easier, but he got stronger. Mr. Happiness felt it now, not a loud strength, not the kind that shows off, but the kind that holds you up when your knees feel weak and your heart feels tired, the kind that comes from knowing you're not carrying everything alone. The path stretched on ahead, covered with leaves and shadows, twists and turns. Some days were bright, others were heavy, but each step was steady. Strength, he realized, wasn't about never feeling weary. It was about getting back up with faith intact. He paused for a moment, placing his hand over his heart. He could feel it beating, faithful, persistent, alive, just like God's presence. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for strength I didn't know I had." The wind moved again, brushing past him like reassurance. He thought about all the times he almost gave up, times when discouragement knocked loudly, when doubt tried to sit beside him, when silence felt heavy, yet here he was, still walking, still believing, still loving. That was strength, not muscle, not pride, but perseverance. Mr. Happiness lifted his head and squared his shoulders. He didn't rush, he didn't hesitate. He moved forward knowing that every step, no matter how small, was supported by God's hand. When the road grew steep, strength carried him. When the night grew long, strength stayed with him. When joy returned, strength reminded him where it came from. He smiled again, not because everything was perfect, but because his heart was anchored. And as he continued the journey, one truth walked beside him. God gives strength for every step, right on time. We Need You, God Part 5. Peace that Carries Us Home, by Mr. Happiness. The road softened, not because it disappeared, but because peace walked beside him now. Mr. Happiness felt it deep within his soul, a calm that didn't rush him forward or pull him backward. It simply held him. The leaves still moved with the wind, the sky slowly shifted colors, but his heart rested. Peace had arrived. He understood now that peace wasn't the absence of trouble. It was the presence of God, steady, quiet, and sure. As he stood still once more, the light around him felt warmer than ever, wrapping him like a promise kept. He no longer questioned where the journey would lead. He trusted the destination. "Thank you," he whispered again, not in desperation, not in doubt, but in gratitude. Peace reminded him that God had been with him at every step. When he cried out in need, when he learned to listen, when he chose trust, when strength carried him forward, and now, peace carried him home. Home wasn't a place on a map. Home was a feeling. Home was faith. Home was knowing you are loved beyond measure. Mr. Happiness smiled fully now, the kind of smile that comes from the soul. The kind that spreads warmth to anyone who sees it. The kind that says, everything is going to be okay. He took one final look at the path behind him, and one calm breath forward. God had walked with him through every season. And peace would remain, today, tomorrow, and always. As the sun lowered and the leaves rested, one truth echoed gently in his heart. When we need God, He gives us peace. And that peace always leads us home. If this song blesses you, please like, share, and subscribe to help spread hope and love around the world. Love, love, love is in the air.